August 19th, 1944. The Falaise Parket, Normandy, France. The road to the Seine River is not paved with asphalt. It is paved with the bloated carcasses of draft horses. Unteroffizier Karl Muller wipes a mixture of sweat and engine grease from his eyes, but it does no good. The stinging, acrid smoke of burning rubber hangs low over the sunken lane, trapping the heat. Above him, the sky screams. The distinct, terrifying howl of Allied P-47 Thunderbolts, the Jarbos, sends a ripple of panic through the column of retreating infantry. Into the ditch, move. Muller screams, shoving a young private into the nettles. But the planes aren't aiming for the men. Not this time. They are aiming for the bottleneck ahead. With a roar that vibrates in Muller's teeth, the American aircraft strafe the lead vehicle of the convoy. It isn't a truck. It is a wooden wagon, drawn by two heavy Belgian draft horses. The 50 caliber rounds turn the wagon into splinters and the horses into red mist. Muller watches, helpless from the mud. This is the reality of the Wehrmacht in 1944. Despite the newsreels in Berlin showing Tiger tanks and V-2 rockets, the German army is an organism powered by muscle and fodder. They invaded Russia with 600,000 horses. They are trying to retreat from France with what is left of them. When the planes vanish, the silence that follows is broken only by the groans of the wounded and the sharp crack of officers shooting injured animals. "Get up," Muller barks, pulling himself out of the ditch. "Grab the harness. We pull it ourselves." The men look at him with hollow eyes. They are the remnants of the 272nd Infantry Division. They are hungry, their boots are rotting, and they are disillusioned. They grab the leather traces of a light artillery piece, straining against the mud, taking the place of the dead animals. They are the master race, reduced to beasts of burden. 2 hours later, the retreat ends. Not with a bang, but with the rumble of an engine. Rounding the bend, a massive M4 Sherman tank appears, its barrel leveled at them. Behind it, a column of half-tracks and GMC Deuce-and-a-half trucks idles. Their engines purr with a deep, rhythmic consistency that speaks of unlimited fuel and precision engineering. Muller drops the leather harness. He raises his hands. As he is marched past the American column, he studies his captors. They are not the degenerate, racially mixed cowboy mob doctor Goebbels described on the radio. They are relaxed. They are chewing gum. And more importantly, they are riding. Every single American soldier seems to have a seat. They sit in jeeps, on trucks, on tanks. Muller counts 50 vehicles in 5 minutes. He doesn't see a single horse. "Where are their animals?" the soldier next to him whispers, eyeing a massive diamond T-transporter hauling a damaged tank. "They ate them," Muller mutters, a bitter joke to hide his growing unease. Or maybe they don't need them. The capture is humiliating, but it is the journey that follows that will shatter Karl Muller's worldview. He is loaded onto a truck with tires that look brand new, and driven to the coast. Then a Liberty ship across the Atlantic. He expects to be taken to a prison dungeon. He expects to see an America bombed out, struggling, or primitive. He expects the propaganda to be true, that the U.S. is a hollow shell propped up by Jewish bankers and gangster politics, devoid of real strength. He is about to discover that the deception was not about the American spirit, but about the American engine. September 28th, 1944. Aboard a Pullman train crossing the Iowa border. The train rattles rhythmically, a soothing, hypnotic clatter that is entirely unlike the jarring, explosive jolts of the Eastern Front rail lines. Inside the passenger car, not a cattle car, but a passenger car with cushioned seats, Karl Muller presses his forehead against the cool glass. He is surrounded by 40 other prisoners. They are clean for the first time in months. They have eaten spam and eggs for breakfast. But nobody is sleeping. They are staring out the window in stunned silence. For the last 6 hours, they have been traveling through a single, unbroken ocean of corn. In Germany, a farm is a patchwork quilt, a strip of potatoes here, a field of rye there, divided by stone walls and ancient property lines. Here, the fields stretch to the curvature of the earth. "Look," whispers Jeffreda Bormann, pointing a shaking finger. "There's another one." In the distance, a bright red dart moves slowly across the golden horizon. It is a farm-all tractor. Muller counts. It is the 20th tractor he has seen in the last hour. It's a propaganda set. A die-hard Nazi loyalist named Weber hisses from across the aisle. "They knew we were coming. They put the machines out to scare us, just like Potemkin villages." Muller wants to believe him. He wants to believe that this display of mechanical dominance is a trick. But then the train slows down, passing through a small, nameless town. They pass a dealership lot. It isn't a military depot. It is a civilian store. Rows of John Deere model, as and Ford N-Series tractors sit gleaming in the sun. Hundreds of them, unused, for sale to anyone with the cash. Muller feels a cold pit open in his stomach. In the Wehrmacht, a division commander has to beg the quartermaster general for a single Volkswagen Kübelwagen. Here, machines that could pull artillery pieces are sitting in a parking lot, waiting for customers. The train rolls past a lone farmer working a field near the tracks. He isn't wearing a uniform. He is wearing denim overalls. He sits atop a massive, chugging beast of iron, pulling a combine harvester that does the work of 30 men with scythes. He doesn't look up as the POW train passes. He is bored. "That man," Muller says quietly, interrupting Weber's ranting. "That man is not a soldier. He is alone, and he has more horsepower under his seat than our entire heavy weapons platoon." The realization ripples through the car. These men grew up on stories of the rural American idiot, the backward cowboy, who couldn't organize a modern society. But the landscape outside the window tells a different story. It tells the story of a nation that has mechanized its very soil. If they can afford to spend this much steel on harvesting corn, Muller thinks, what are they doing with their tanks? The train whistle blows, a long, mournful sound. Muller leans back in the cushioned seat, the comfort suddenly feeling like an insult. He realizes that while Germany was fighting a war of blood and will, America was fighting a war of logistics and combustion. And the combustion was winning. October 15th, 1944. The Henderson Farm, near Algona, Iowa. The war is technically 4,000 miles away, but for Karl Muller, the final battle is happening right now, in a barn. Under the Geneva Convention, POWs can be leased out for labor, provided it isn't dangerous or directly related to the war effort. With so many American boys overseas, the harvest needs hands. So Muller finds himself standing on the dirt floor of a massive wooden barn, holding a wrench. Mr. Henderson, the farm owner, is an older man with skin like leather and hands the size of shovels. He doesn't speak German, and Muller speaks little English, but the language of mechanics is universal. "Spark plugs," Henderson grunts, pointing to the engine block of his tractor. It's an Oliver 70, a sleek, 6-cylinder machine with green sheet metal styling that looks almost aerodynamic. Muller approaches the machine cautiously. Back home in Bavaria, his family plowed with 2 oxen named Hans and Greta. If their oxen got sick, the family starved. He touches the engine block. It is warm. He unscrews a spark plug. It is clean, high-quality ceramic and steel. He checks the oil. It is golden and fresh. Henderson watches him, then gestures to the seat. "Go on," the farmer says, miming a steering motion. "You drive." Muller freezes. "Me," he points to himself. Henderson nods. "Harvest needs bringing in. Can't do it all myself." Muller climbs up. The seat is sprung steel, comfortable. He presses the starter. The engine catches immediately, per vroom, settling into a steady, powerful idle. There is no coughing, no sputtering. It is a symphony of perfect timing. As he puts the tractor into gear and rolls out of the barn, the sheer power of the machine vibrates through his spine. He looks out over the fields. In Germany, this harvest would take their entire village a week. With this machine, he and Henderson will finish it in 2 days. He stops the tractor at the edge of the field and kills their engine. The silence of the prairie washes over him. He thinks of his father, writing letters about the shortage of horses, how they are hitching milk cows to the plows because the Wehrmacht requisitioned everything else. He thinks of the propaganda posters in the Munich beer halls depicting Americans as gangsters who can't shoot straight. He pulls a crumpled piece of paper and a pencil from his pocket. He has been meaning to write to his mother. He rests the paper on the warm steel of the American tractor hood. "Liebe Mutter," he writes, his hand shaking slightly. "Do not believe what the radio tells you. The war is lost. I am sitting on a machine made for farming that is better built than my Panzer Division's trucks. They have no horses here, Mother. They have only gasoline. Even the peasants drive like kings." He looks up at Henderson, who is lighting a pipe, looking at the sky, unconcerned about falling bombs, unconcerned about starvation. Muller folds the letter. He knows the censors might black it out. But he has to write it. It is his confession. He realizes now that Germany never fought a war against soldiers. They fought a war against a factory that spanned a continent. And you cannot shoot a factory. "Alles kaputt," Muller whispers to the cornstalks. All is finished. He starts the engine again, drops the plow, and begins to turn the American earth. Conclusion: the harvest of steel. Karl Muller returned to Germany in 1947, not as a conqueror, but as a witness. The story of the German POWs in America is often overshadowed by the battles in Europe, but the psychological impact of the tractor shock was devastatingly effective. Thousands of letters sent home from camps in the Midwest carried the same message: the giant is not sleeping, and he is not backward. While the Wehrmacht relied on 2.7 million horses to move its supplies, American farmers were using over 1.6 million tractors to feed the world. German soldiers surrendered expecting to find a weak, decadent enemy. Instead, they found a nation where the Industrial Revolution had moved from the factory floor to the cornfield. For men like Muller, the sound of the American victory wasn't the explosion of an atomic bomb. It was the steady, unstoppable chug of a John Deere tractor, plowing a field in Iowa, proving that the Axis powers had lost the war of production before the first shot was even fired. End.